Stereotypes that we have been saddled with some people have told me, are bland stereotypes. They're not really destructive or insulting or painful stereotypes. On the Oscars, the three kids were accountants, were good with numbers. They work at night, hardworking, child labor, those stereotypes. They're relatively bland, we're studious, we're inscrutable. These so-called bland stereotypes can suddenly overnight become dangerous and almost life-changing. In fact, for me, it was life-changing. If one catastrophic event happens, those stereotypes can be used as weapons against us. When Pearl Harbor was bombed, overnight, just because of our faces, we were seen, looked at with suspicion and fear and outright hatred, simply because we happened to look like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor. These stereotypes became the reason for that. And it can be enormously damaging, catastrophically damaging. We had an attorney general in California, the state's lawyer. He was a good man, he knew the law, but he was also ambitious. He wanted to be elected governor of California. And he saw that in that war hysteria climate, the most popular issue was lock up the Japanese. And so this top attorney of California got in front of that issue. He became an outspoken advocate for internment, and he made an amazing statement. He said, "We've had no reports of sabotage or spying or fifth column activity by Japanese Americans. And that is ominous because the Japanese are inscrutable." That stereotype. They don't know what we're thinking, so we should be locked up before we do anything. For this attorney, the absence of evidence was the evidence. And that fed into the hysteria of the times that reached the presidency of the United States, and he ordered all Japanese Americans on the West Coast to be summarily rounded up with no charges, with no trial, because you need charges to challenge in order to, in a court of law, to have a trial. The central pillar of our justice system, due process, simply disappeared. I remember that scary morning when my parents got me and my brother a year younger and my baby sister not a year old yet. We're waking up early and hurriedly dressed, and my brother and I were told to wait in the living room while they did some packing in the bedroom. We were looking out the window, and we saw two American soldiers with bayonets on their rifle marching up our driveway. They stomped up the front porch, and they banged on the door with fists. My father answered it, and we were at gunpoint, ordered out of our home. We were inscrutable. That stereotype. We were taken from our home in Los Angeles and put on a train with armed guards at both ends of each car and transported 2/3 of the way across the country to the swamps of Arkansas. I still remember the barbed wire fences. I remember the tall sentry towers with the machine guns pointed at us. I remember the searchlight that followed me as I made the night runs to the latrine. For my parents, it was invasive, it was degrading, and it was humiliating. But to 5-year-old me, I thought it was kind of nice that they lit the way for me to pee. I spent 4 years of my childhood imprisoned behind those barbed wire fences, and that experience has shaped my life. I am keenly sensitive to stereotypes, as bland, as innocuous as they may seem, because all it takes is one catastrophic event for that stereotype to become a deadly weapon used against us. And that's why, with the Oscars, those innocuous stereotypes are something that we have to fight. I don't consider it funny. I have a sense of humor. But those demeaning and dehumanizing stereotypes, I will fight to the end.